Hey, what is going on everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and today I'm going to be showing you all a new PS3 exploit from the team PS3Xploit. This here is etHANol, otherwise known as HAN, and that's what I'm going to be referring to it as. The nice thing about HAN is this works on every PS3 model. It doesn't matter if you have a fat, a slim, a super slim. You heard that right. You can do this here on every single PS3 model, as long as it is on version of firmware 4.82. At the moment, that is the latest firmware out right now. However, once a new system update comes out, whenever that does happen, I still think there's going to be one that comes out. This will more than likely be patched, so you are going to have to do this on firmware 4.82. The downside to this is, unfortunately, it is quite limited compared to what you can do on a custom firmware PS3, because don't get this confused, this is not a custom firmware. This is essentially a regular official firmware that you can do a few other little goodies with. There might be some homebrew coming down the pipeline. This is mainly so you can install backup games and such on here, but even that isn't as robust as it can be, unfortunately. But either way, I'm going to show you how you can get everything set up on here, and later on I do plan to make a tutorial and have it come out showing you how to install PS3 games through HAN. But either way, let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, you will need your PS3. It has to be on firmware 4.82 and it has to be connected to the internet. With that as well too, you also need a PlayStation Network account. So the first thing you need to do is get a secondary account set up. It is recommended to have a secondary account just so you can use this to enable HAN, install any of your backup games, and do any of that fun stuff. You can still sign on to PSN on your first account, your main account. You can still play games on there, but it is recommended to do all the HAN-based stuff on your secondary account. So I only have one account on this PS3 because I'm kind of using this more as a demonstration, but just pretend this would be a second account. So what you'll need to do is make a new PlayStation account. You can either do this through the PS3 or you could do it on PlayStation's website. I myself have already created another account, so what I'm going to do is go to sign up. I'm going to use an existing account, and I'm going to enter all of my information here. So once you are all signed in, go into account management, go to system activation, PS3 system, game, activate system. And there you go. You have now activated this console with your second account. That's going to be very important. So next up, we need to go over to our PC. Make sure you have a flash drive. It doesn't have to be anything huge, but get a flash drive. Make sure it's formatted to FAT32. And we're going to download some files and transfer them over and then continue on with the rest of the tutorial. Alright, so first of all, go over to PS3Xploit.com. The link is going to be down below in the description, and what you should do is go into the corner where it says V3 HAN Tools and download the support files. On top of that, there will also be a link for PSX Place for HAN Toolbox, and I'm going to recommend just download the latest version here, which you can just click download now and you'll be able to get it as part of a PKG file. After you download your two files, get your flash drive and make sure it's formatted accordingly. Now mine is FAT32. I don't have anything on this flash drive, so I don't care if I nuke it. However, if you do have any data you care about, make sure you back it up. So I'm going to do regular capacity, FAT32, default allocation size, sure. And there we go, that's it. Now, go back to where you had everything, right click and extract your HAN support files, go into the folder, copy out everything here, and paste it onto the root of your flash drive. Now you're also going to want to go back, get your package file, we're going to use this later, go to your flash drive again, and paste it onto the root of your flash drive. Make sure everything has pasted on there just fine, and then eject it. And that's all you need to do. So take out your flash drive, pop it into your PS3. It's recommended to put it in the furthest right-hand USB port. If you cannot do that, there are other USB port options you can pick, but by default, just try and go with the furthest right one. So now go back over to the PS3. Now, when you're back over at your PS3, make sure your USB drive is showing up as such, like that. Then go over to your internet browser, and I'm going to option a few things here. First of all, what I'm going to recommend doing is press the triangle button and just cancel out of that. And I'm going to want to change some of the settings here. So you can go here. Let's go ahead, go to our home page and just use a blank page. Or actually, for this, I'm going to pick the site we'll be using. So this will be PS3. I tried it already, PS3Xploit.com. I recommend making that your home page right there. Press OK on that. Other things I'd recommend doing are delete any cookies you have, go back to tools, delete search history, tools one more time, delete cache. I guess if you want to, you can delete your authentication information, and that's it. So that way we'll have a nice clean browser to work with. Now open up your browser once it's been closed and wait for this to launch. Now you should come to the PS3Xploit page. What you need to do here is go to the very top, V3 HAN Tools, go to HAN Installer, press X. Press OK on that. As you can see here, you can change your USB drive, which plug you're going to be using or which port it is. Since we're using dev USB 0, which is the furthest to the right, I'm not going to change that. But all you need to do is press X on Initialize HAN Installer and wait for this to do its magic. So if you get an error like this, just go ahead, follow the instructions, refresh the page, that's fine, and initialize this again. Sometimes that happens, so you might have to try this a few times before it finally works. And as you can see, HAN Installer initialized successfully. So we can now launch the HAN Installer. We'll just move over to the right, press X on HAN installation. Now when you do that, your PS3 should restart, so go ahead and wait for it to finish restarting, and then we can do this all again. So now at that point, HAN is installed, but we need to enable it. So just to continue this, go to your internet browser. And as you can see, we're back at the site, so go up here to V3 HAN Tools, go to HAN Enabler, and press X, press OK on there, and initialize HAN Enabler. As you can see, it's been initialized, so now press X on Enable HAN. And it will ask you if you want to close a window, press yes. And once that closes, at that point, you're good to go. You have HAN installed and you have it initialized. So now once you're back here, what you can do is go down and verify that Package Manager is showing up. Press X on here, go to Install Package Files, go to Standard, and HAN Toolbox should show up. Just press X on that, wait for it to install, and that's it. As you can see, HAN Toolbox is now showing up. So you can mess around with all of this other stuff here if you want to, and that's about it. This does help out quite a bit if you choose to mess around with it. So like for example, when you start enabling HAN later on, all you need to do is go to your HAN Toolbox, HAN Enabler, and it will automatically open up the browser, enable it for you, and close out of that. So you should be good to go. But the last thing I would like you all to do is go back to the internet browser one more time. And we're going to now dump 2 files, and these are going to be very important. You need to keep them safe somewhere, and you're going to need them for when you are re-signing your games and such to your console. So go ahead, go to the PS3Xploit site again, go up to V3 HAN Tools, and now go down to Act IDPS Dumper, and press X. Press OK on that, and now initialize. If it fails, that's fine, just go down to refresh this page, hit OK, and try it again. As you can see, it initialized successfully this time around, so now dump your ACT and IDPS files. Press yes on here, and that is it. So close out of your web browser. Your USB drive should have flashed during that whole process as well too. And now at this point you can take out your flash drive, pop it into your computer, and I'm going to show you everything on there. So once you plug your USB drive back into your computer, you're going to see 2 new files, a act.dat file and a idps.hex file. What you need to do is take these, so I'm just going to copy them for now, and go over to another folder such as your HAN folder and keep them safe. So I'm just going to make a new folder and call this console act and IDPS. So just do that. And you need to keep these files safe, so I'd recommend backing them up, do whatever you can on them, because not only these are sensitive to your console, this is your activation file, this is essentially some sensitive console information that you would need that will identify it, but on top of that, you're also going to need those two files for when you are re-signing games to your console. I'm going to have another tutorial on that. That's going to be the next video that will come out in regards to this, and it will be with PS3 games. And for that tutorial, you are going to need these two files with your re-signer once you're doing all of that. So at that point, with your flash drive here, what you can do is you can actually delete everything out of that. And the nice thing is, if you want to copy over any package files, you can just copy and paste them to the root here and install them that way. However, before you start getting really excited and start going in and downloading MultiMAN and a bunch of other pieces of Homebrew, be warned, it's not going to work like that. Again, there's barely any Homebrew that runs on this. Just assume that really no Homebrew is going to run, which is why I gave you the toolbox, so you can at least mess with things a little bit and you'll have somewhat of a convenience thing. But either way, this is all cleaned up. We're good to go there. We can exit out of this, and for the final part, I'll go back to the PS3 and show you all how you can utilize this. So finally, at the PS3, all you need to do for this is, again, assume that this is going to be a second account. So let's say you want to do anything HAN related, I'd recommend doing that on your second account. So sign into that. What you need to do is, when you're starting this up, you can go down to HAN Toolbox, press X on HAN Enabler, and just don't touch anything. As you can see, it will take you to this auto enabler website, and press yes to close the browser, and that is it. HAN is enabled. So you can also check out all these other things, such as, you know, soft reboot, hard reboot, all this other stuff here. You can also dump your license here pretty easily. Offline functions, if you have those as well too, and then these are going to be the things that we'll be using, the installers and such. So install package from web server, this is extremely helpful because you can only install games from a USB drive if they are less than 4 GB in size, and most PS3 games are going to be greater than 4 GB in size, so I will be covering that in the next video. But either way, that is it. So again, you do have a PS3. It is on firmware 4.82. It's official firmware, but you have HAN enabled and ready to go. To top this off at this point, if you're wondering, okay, I have this HAN thing installed on the system, what do I do? Well, first of all, I would like to say a big thank you to the PS3Xploit team for finding something that at least works pretty well on all PS3 systems. It's not a fully fledged custom firmware, of course, but it is something that we can utilize. Secondly, I'm also going to link this down below in the description. This guide actually really helped me out, and big shout out to Fingers McGee over on PSX Place. I am going to be covering, again, the PS3 installation side of things. However, if you're interested in PSP games, PS1, PS2, this guide has everything available on that. So if you get confused, this would be quite good to read as well. So it's a really well put together guide. Again, this helped me figure out what I was doing on here, and I can recommend it to anyone if you're looking for somewhere else to go. But again, this is mostly for playing backup games, and that's about it. If you're looking for extra homebrew, there's really not too much on here. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, a like would absolutely be appreciated, and if you didn't like it, a dislike is fine as well too.